will officially call the June 4th, 2020 Public Safety meeting to order. And Chief, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Can you lead us in the pledge, sir, because you have the flag right behind you.
I certainly can.
Thank you so much.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Good morning to all of my friends on this meeting and in town. As the world continues to evolve, obviously, we continue to have more and more challenges thrown at all of us in many different ways. But as I say all the time, never appreciate you guys more than I do right now. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Maria, do we have any public comment? I don't have any on my end.
None at this time.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, because I always forget it, I'll get it right this morning. We'll do roll first. Melissa is obviously not here and has a very good, probably 10-pound excuse at this point. We're looking forward to her making a guest appearance with the little guy soon. Chief Baldus.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. Michael Berry.
Good morning here.
Morning. Steve Falter.
Yes, good morning.
Town Manager Maria Capriola.
Here.
Good morning. Kristen Formanek, Social Services.
Present.
Hey, good morning. Jennifer
Good morning.
Katanet, you still going, my friend? No, Jennifer? Okay. Kevin Kowalski.
I'm here. Good morning.
Kevin. Mark Kritz.
Good morning.
Thanks for your smiling face. All right. The Honorable Mike Long.
Here.
There he is. Good to see you, sir. Melissa Marquis. Mark Massaro. Poor Mark knows that he doesn't go to the end of the agenda, so he'll call in late. Sarah Nielsen, we heard you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Chris Peterson.
Buenos dias.
Hey, good morning, my friend. Tom Roy and his halo. There you are, sir. Nancy Sheets. Caught you right in the middle of a sip of coffee. Good morning. Sorry, Nancy.
Hi.
Karen Stewart.
Good morning. I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Karen. Neil Sullivan.
Yeah, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Neil. And, I don't see it. Is Gary Wilcox's iPad here?
Yes, but I'm undercover under my wife's name.
Gary is here. Wow.
So, good morning.
Wonderful to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. All right, we will get right into it because I know a number of you have other responsibilities, obviously, and I believe there is a 9 o'clock meeting backing up against this one. So we'll get right to it. We had the minutes of the May 21st meeting in our packet. Are there any questions, suggested changes? And again, thank you, Karen, as always, for an excellent job. All right, hearing none, those minutes will stand. Doesn't look like we have Jennifer with us. I think she might have gotten out of order here because I think she thought there was a meeting last week. Right, Maria, as we spoke to her.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we don't have a health district update at this point, so we'll just go straight to town manager.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Good morning. So we are slowly reopening some of our town facilities and programs and services. Our transfer station is now open with full services. Our town and Board of Education tennis courts are open. Our town parks, open space parcels and trails. A really great initiative we're excited about. We've seen high demand for it as we now have a curbside pickup program at the library. So people are now able to begin checking out materials again from the library. The full rollout of that started on June 1st. We did a soft rollout the week prior, and that's been going very well and has been very well received. We are looking likely to open our pools for the 2020 season around June 20th. And also working on a summer camp program that would open on June 22nd. We're planning for a soft reopening of a number of our buildings that are ordinarily open to the public. For our administrative staff at Town Hall and Eno, they'll be coming back on a rotating schedule June 22nd. The buildings will remain closed to the public until at least July 5th. But we will be accepting appointments. There's going to be a screening list of questions for folks to go through with patrons. But if there is truly something that needs to be conducted in person, we'll have the ability to do that. We have the Board of Selectmen approved a motion to allow us to temporarily suspend the acceptance of cash payments. So we won't be accepting cash payments through September 14th. Again, really hoping to minimize the number of transactions that our folks are having at the counter with the public. Our senior center, we are not scheduling programming through at least early September, possibly later. And it's also very unlikely that that particular facility will open up to the public prior to the fall. We've been working on evaluating and preparing our buildings, again, for the gradual reopening. So we've been doing building modifications, and I'll let Tom Roy speak to this during his report, such as partitions and different screening and extra hand sanitizing stations and things of that nature. So really working on our physical layout and preparing adequately for that reopening. Recently, an executive order required municipal CEOs to designate an individual or multiple individuals to enforce the various sector rules related to reopening. So I have designated the police chief, our planning director, and our building official. They then also have the authority to designate their subordinates. So those various departments are helping us with enforcing sector rules. The health district was given a handful of sectors that they are responsible for, primarily salons, spas, tattoo parlors, things of that nature. But essentially all other business establishments, the enforcement falls on the municipality. Our meetings continue to remain closed to the public at this time. We did have a recent executive order that did change the limits on gatherings. So indoor gatherings are now limited to no more than 10 people, and that's an increase from 5. And outdoor gatherings are now limited to no more than 25 people, so that's also an increase as well. And social distancing practices are still required. We are still utilizing video Zoom at this point to hold our meetings virtually, and people can watch those meetings live on SCTV or at simsburytv.org. And most of our regulatory bodies do continue to meet. We also have our agencies that need to take action on a time-sensitive manner that are meeting during this time, as well as any of our groups such as the EDC that will be assisting with recovery and relief efforts. A quick update on our property tax deferral program. As of last week, we now have 31 approved applications for that program. That's resulting in approximately $187,000 in deferred revenue for the first tax installment that would ordinarily be due in July. I will let Kristen speak to this during her portion of the agenda, but again, just want to thank the community for their generosity in supporting our residents in need with donations, whether it's toiletries, food items, financial donations, but the community has just been so generous, and we really appreciate everything that they've done for us. And lastly, and I'll let Kevin or Jennifer speak to this more later in the meeting, but we are working with an urgent care provider to try and offer COVID testing here in Simsbury for the larger community. So we think that's a really important and helpful service for our residents. So I'm really glad that we've been working with a partner on that. And that's my report for today.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Any questions for the town manager? All right, move right on to Michael and Kevin.
Good morning. Mine is going to be really short. I know that Kevin can expand on quite a bit of what I've got to touch on. We continue to work with the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security on the pods, giving out the personal protective equipment for small businesses, long-term care facilities, and first responders. We're in, as Maria said, we're working with an agency for possible testing, COVID testing, trying to work on a system with that. And we're also working with the health department on a flu clinic, looking to try to get a location and a system where we can do a large amount of people for regular flu shots coming up, before the fall season comes around. WSIM continues to pump out information, and we're looking to work with the school system on possibly broadcasting the graduation in whatever form we try to put it into on WSIM, so that more people will be able to enjoy it. I know that the governor put out the expansion yesterday for 150 person gathering for graduation after July. But the timing on that and the fact that we have probably more students graduating than the 150 people allow really prevents any kind of real celebration on that. And the last thing I have before I'll turn over to Kevin so he can expand on some of these things is we're starting to gear up. And as if anybody saw the sky last night, we had a quite an impressive lightning show go through. We wanted to reinforce storm preparedness for the public, make sure that they have their go kits and things ready to go, because we are approaching storm season, and apparently the tropics are starting to warm up too. So we have to start looking to see if Mother Nature wants to get rolling with some tropical storms coming up in the future. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. First and foremost, I want to thank Mike for the great job he's doing on the PPE give out and all the support staff. And just to let everyone know, to keep everyone abreast, that he has been submitted to replace myself as Emergency Management Director July 1st, pending the Selectmen's approval. That hopefully will happen. So that will be the next phase. As far as the testing goes, we anticipate having a meeting next week to coordinate logistics for a townwide COVID testing site. We're going to partner with a company. I'm thankful for Jennifer and her hard work in making sure that we have the test product that we want and that we can use. Again, in accordance with the governor's recommendations, more testing, the better. So we want to be prepared for that and have a facility here in our community to test. It'll be done on several days, and we can process a lot of people through this site. We haven't chosen a site. We have a couple options. One of the things that we do want to do is to give an opportunity for the first responders to be tested. And so we'll make it a site that's acceptable to everybody. So that will happen. We also, in support of the school, we are going to be supporting the fire department, and emergency management will be supporting the graduation on the 12th with a lot of activities that we'll be pushing for. So that will be ongoing. PPE supplies, we are sending out thousands of masks to businesses. We sent out over, I believe, 200 thermometers out to businesses to facilitate their opening and to push forward as far as our 3 points of our objectives for this whole thing, and that is protect the seniors, protect the businesses, and protect the first responders. So that's all in accordance with our planning and our emergency action plans that Mike has been putting forward. So that's a positive thing. The other item that we've been doing is supporting fit testing and assistance with the VNA, the schools, and any other facilities that have called us on fit testing for the N95 masks when they go into operation. I think that's it's an opportunity to help the businesses and the medical communities, especially to get that checked off, so to speak. So that'll be ongoing. We have another test date next Tuesday, so we'll be pretty busy with that. As far as any other, the restaurant opens, we're going around to businesses, checking the restaurants for safety and facilitating with the building department to make sure that all these facilities are being safe and their normal operations outside, make sure that they're protected from vehicle traffic, etc. So things are going smooth as far as that goes. The businesses, I think, are doing well as far as you can hope for at this point, and hopefully down the road we'll be able to give them a little bit more leeway on going inside the buildings. So that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
I just have one comment. I just want to thank the fire department, Kevin, and all of the people that came. You guys came to our facility the other day. I've been a nurse for 37 years. I have never been fit tested for a mask because I don't normally work in a reverse isolation room, negative isolation. It's quite a process. And I mean, kudos to you and your team. They were really professional. It was so well done. It ran really smoothly, and I really appreciate your help. That was big for us.
Yeah, they did a great job. Thank you.
Man in demand there, jeez.
There it is. It's a scary process. It's a very interesting thing. You have this big hooded plastic thing over your head for 8 minutes. And but your officers were just amazing, and they were really calming and very nice and very professional. And it really was a well-run morning. So I appreciate the fact that you guys immediately came and helped us out.
You're welcome.
Excellent.
Thank you. I'll pass that along.
Please do.
All right. Other questions for Kevin or Michael? Chief, Police Department, how are our officers doing?
Good morning. The officers are doing well. Thank you. Everybody is healthy, which is excellent. Our PPE supply is also very adequate. Thank you again to the distribution source for that, and for Karen and SVAA for picking up our weekly allotment from the state. We now have gowns supplied for each cruisers, and we have spare gowns as well. And we continue to get regular surgical masks and some N95s. So thank you for that. We had a successful couple days handing out some of the masks that were donated through social services, donated to the town. And we continue to do that. We're going to plan on doing that again next week if the masks are still in supply, and if they're not, we have some additional ones that we can hand out as well. We are working very closely with the schools for the end of school year events, including graduation, and we certainly appreciate the very close relationships that we have with the schools, and it's going very well. Lots of thoughts being taken and lots of consideration for everything. The general activity in town, again, is increasing week by week. So we continue to see heavy use of our trails and our roadways by pedestrians and cyclists. We have had, unfortunately, again, an increase in motor vehicle thefts. So since we last met, there were 4 more vehicle thefts. And then an increase in general police activity, which includes family violence calls and disturbance calls. So and general traffic. Our overall activity is almost back to where we were pre-COVID-19. As you are all aware, there have been some very peaceful demonstrations here at Town Hall, and we continue to plan for future demonstrations. And that's about it. We wrapped up the Bike Safety Month in May, and not sort of our normal way to participate. We have not been able to really get out there on the bikes ourselves, but we're hoping that will happen pretty soon, so we can provide a little bit more patrol for the downtown area and for some of our biking areas, and be able to get out there and sort of exhibit some good biking examples. We still have people who are not stopping at stop signs and not obeying the laws as they should, and it really provides for the safest use of all of our roadways if everybody is abiding by the laws. And that's about it. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Chief, and that's a good reminder. I'll need you guys to come out and ticket Eleanor. She's not listening to me about stopping at stop signs at this point. But the
just calls. We'll come out with a bike and we'll ride with her for a bit.
She likes when you guys are in the neighborhood. And it was nice to see you the other day with the. I didn't see the bear, but I did see the chief. I was out for a walk, and several officers were driving around because there was probably hundreds of us out in the David Drive Lincoln area, and the chief and other officers were driving around making sure everybody was safe. So appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And obviously not going to gloss over the issues at hand, Chief. Nothing but respect and appreciation for how you and your team are interacting with our community, and respect and appreciation for how you've operated forever in this town with a partnership with this community, and the respect that you have and the community has for you and the officers. Seeing the Facebook post, seeing your message of unity to your officers and leadership is just something that I really appreciate. And I know the rest of this community does. And several pieces of feedback, you joining folks and going out and talking to folks, you and the lieutenant out there with your signs the other day, just really appreciated and so authentic, because that's how you guys always have been. This is not new. This is how you and the force has always operated. So I really, really appreciate that. And obviously, scary times for everybody. We appreciate what you and the officers do every day by putting yourselves in front of us to keep us safe.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. All right, Mr. Peterson, I promise that's my last sermon for the day. We'll move on to ambulance.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, good morning. Good morning. We continue to remain healthy. We've had no staff issues with anybody getting sick, which is great. We have seen a decrease in COVID-related calls, which is a good direction to be going in. We have had an increase in 911 calls, but it was only a blip on the screen. We have calmed down again. So I don't know whether it was the change in the weather and people deciding to get out more, but everything still remains on a lower call volume. We did pick up our allotment from the state yesterday, and we have quite a bit of an excess of masks that are actually non-medical graded masks for us that we really cannot use. So I spoke with Sarah yesterday, and we're going to disperse some of that to the businesses in town. And I will also be at Fitzgerald's on Monday between 11 and 1, handing out masks to anybody that comes in and out of the stores or wants to stop by and pick up some masks. We will be giving those out to the general public for their use. But otherwise, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. Any questions for Karen? All right. Neil, Board of Ed. Or Mark, obviously.
Yeah, I'll go first and then turn it over to Mark. But as has been previewed by some others, our graduation ceremony is scheduled to take place next Friday night, June 12th. They'll bring people into the parking lot at Simsbury High School a little bit before, but the ceremony itself, I think, is right around 8 p.m. And it's a drive-in movie type event with, unfortunately, not as much of a community celebration as usual, as it's really pretty much limited to the families of the graduating class due to space considerations. But we are pleased that the high school administration has made it such that there will be a stage and our graduates will be able to get out of the car and proceed across the stage and get a diploma. So a lot of work has gone into that event, and I thank everybody on this call who is supporting that event next Friday night. In terms of other operations of the Simsbury Public Schools, our year-round staff, including the central office, will be on a return to work starting June 22nd. At the central office, we'll be on a staggered A-B schedule in order to have about 50% of the personnel in person each day and the others working from home. And it'll be similar at each of the school buildings. For the first month from mid-June to mid-July, visitors will be by appointment only. But it will be good to be able to occupy our spaces again, at least in a staggered way. And then also our Return to Simsbury Schools Task Force has continued to meet and make contingency plans for what a reopening in the fall might look like. I would say right now we are very much in a procurement stage in terms of gathering cleaning equipment, these electrostatic sanitizing machines, hand sanitizer, PPE, additional Chromebooks and technology. We've done a lot of good work in the last few weeks to get these hard to obtain items to be able to open when the time comes. So that's been some good work. That committee will continue to meet through June every other week, and then we're going to make it a weekly meeting starting in July. And then lastly, related to the events of our nation that the chief spoke about earlier, it's timely that our Simsbury Public Schools Equity Council is having its final meeting tonight. While those are not open to the public, we will be reporting out, but obviously that's a group that has met monthly throughout the year, and the events of the nation are very much on the minds of the Simsbury Public Schools and our Equity Council. It's timely that they have their last meeting of the year tonight. I know Mark Kritz has some other information, and then I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, so from my end, the grab and go meals last day is going to be on June 15th. We've already given the word to all the families that have been coming in. So that week, what we'll be doing is that Monday, families will be given meals for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There has been no waiver received from the state to extend that, so that's why we're ending on the 15th. The end of the year school events right now, we have a host coming in next week. Everything from the Henry James Middle School with their turn in and pick up of items at the school to parades from Squadron Line that are going out into the school district with the help of the police and fire department. Thursday, the high school is going to be turning in and picking up their items here at the high school. And then the senior parade will go off around 5 o'clock that afternoon. And then Friday, there'll be 6th grade promotions at all the elementary schools with the graduation at the high school later on that evening. And then Monday will be the culmination with the elementary schools having reverse parades for each one of their school districts. I would like to say a big thank you to the police department and the fire department for all their help in making these events all go off smoothly. So thank you to them. That's all I got.
Mark, any questions for Mark and Neil? And of course, because I can't help it, I always mess up the order. Chief Baldus, I did not intentionally skip you. I apologize. Usually it's poor Tom Roy that gets skipped, but
Well, I figured, now that I got a haircut, maybe you didn't recognize me or something. So.
Floor is yours, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We're also very pleased to report that we continue to remain very healthy with no issues with virus or actually anything else going on in that regard. We have been, fairly quiet, but it's interesting that some of the calls that we in fact have been responding to have been, more actual fire calls, not as much in terms of the false alarms or smells and bells types of problems, but some actual fires that we have had. And again, continue to recognize and support the efforts of police, ambulance, and also social services in helping those people who do have issues that come up. We did have a displacement last week with a cornfield where a bedroom fire displaced a family. Unfortunately, looks like going to be for a few months while that repair is being made. And thanks again for all those agencies for their support and help in addressing that. We kind of got back to somewhat normalcy with drills this past Monday. Each of our 6 stations did have actual drills at the stations or at a location from the station with their members that are assigned, practicing social distancing, wearing masks as appropriate when 6 feet wasn't able to be observed. But it was good to get some hands-on drills back again for our members. They're very much was waiting for that. We're very happy that they were able to get back involved. So that will continue now for the foreseeable future, as long as everything stays status quo and continues the improvement trend. We'll continue to do that. We'll still hold virtual meetings where obviously it's prudent, and we'll take care of it from that perspective. And again, thanks for the kind words. We really love doing a lot of these support efforts, be it with the schools, be it with the community and so forth. Anything that we can do, any other ideas that people have, certainly, pass them along. If we have obviously the volunteer staff to be able to support it, we're there for you. So thanks again for those kind words.
Appreciate that. And just quickly, being the father of a 4-year-old, I can't tell you how important it is to the kids to see both the police officers, firefighters, and public works out there. It's some challenging times for them. Obviously, they don't understand what's going on. They're confused. So to see their heroes come down their street for parades or otherwise, or be part of what's going on, I can tell you makes a substantial difference so if the residents are seeing that, that's what's going on. So thank you guys. All right. We did Board of Ed. Mr. Roy.
I did not get my COVID haircut yet, Chief, so I'm a little behind you. Public Works, we've been very fortunate, and we are at full staff. We have our full complement of employees working each and every day. I think, like so many of us, I think the challenge right now is not to get complacent and to make sure that we keep up with our diligent sanitizing our workspaces and our vehicles and keeping up with the masks. Our buildings and ground staff have been, as Maria mentioned, very busy on getting our buildings ready for our reopen. Everything from plexiglass screening between counters, new hand sanitizing dispensers at just about every entry point, disinfection wipes and sprays at all of the shared equipment and copiers. We're going to really increase and have a uniformed signage at all of our facilities. So it's been quite the undertaking. And that same group, our buildings and ground folks, have also still been busy helping support our other divisions and social services with their food giveaways. So we've been just happy to do our part and fill in where we can.
You paved Nancy's road.
Oh, and Nancy is really a happy girl.
I saw that the other day.
We'll be back for another 17 years. It's going to last.
And by then, if I'm not out, somebody physically remove me.
Just to bring it up, and again, I know generally we're talking about other issues right now, but obviously the paving maintenance and the sidewalk maintenance is an important component to our connectivity, to our overall safety, to the maintenance of this town. And I encourage folks to go down and look at the project on Firetown. If they want to see where their tax dollars are going, and an example of a really thoughtful, well-connected project where both the sidewalks are done, ADA accessible in front of schools, the road's done in a relatively short period of time. And again, I'm no expert, but looks pretty damn good, Tom. So thank you for that, because we drive over the stuff every day, but we forget all the hard work and coordination that goes into that. So thank you.
I appreciate it, and we'll pass it on to our crews that really are the ones doing all the work. And I know it's been a long project, especially with the water main replacement last year, but in a way it was kind of a good example of good government, where we work with our utility contractors, and we told them that we were planning on repaving Firetown this year, and they were able to accelerate their project so that we didn't dig up a brand new roadway. So,
yep. Well done. All right. Social services, Kristen.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I think a lot of our efforts have already been shared this morning, and I appreciate all the other department supports of the things that we've been doing to help out in the community. We have continued with our effort with the masks. We have received over 1,000 hand-sewn masks from our community members that have been sewing every single week. And those masks are going back out into the community almost just as quickly. We have been distributing during our food distributions. And also, as you heard from the chief, they've partnered with us, and they've been having officers stand outside of Eno and just doing drive-by pickups for masks. And we've gotten a couple of hundred out that way. So we're really appreciative of that effort. We're also continuing to serve meals. We're distributing our Wednesday lunches, curbside pickup still for our seniors. And we've also had a lot of local businesses reach out to us to provide meals to our families. Just to give a public shout out right now to Harvest Cafe and Amicis. They've just contacted us this week to provide another 15 meals to our families in the community that are struggling. So we're really grateful for that. We're continuing with our curbside distribution for food every 3 weeks. We're going to stick with that schedule probably through the summer. And through the generosity of our community members, we have a healthy influx of donation to our office, and we're able to provide a gift card for grocery shopping to every family and every individual at those food distributions, which has been a really big help to those folks. We also just started, or it's not a new project, but it looks a little bit different right now with the Farmington Valley VNA. They've always partnered with us to provide blood pressure and blood screening at our Wednesday lunches, and we are now providing that at the curbside pickup lunch for our seniors. And we're also working with them to identify some of our seniors that are particularly vulnerable to send them in to do some welfare checks and some home visits. And similarly to what was shared on the Board of Education from Mark, with the Equity Council having met, similarly, the town had started an effort in response to some of the troubling situations that we've had locally and nationwide, and that's our Spirit Committee. Our Spirit Committee has been working for over a year now to identify the concerns in the community and work with community efforts to help address some of those issues. And we are going to be able to hold our June 25th meeting via Zoom. That will be recorded for the public. And then they will start to meet again in the fall. And I think it's very timely for them to be doing that as well. Our staff is healthy, and we're looking forward to working with Public Works to modify our building. And as you heard, we'll be returning on our A and B week schedule as of June 22nd. I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm here. I'm available. Thank you.
Kristen, thank you to you and your team for all that hard work.
You're welcome.
Nancy.
As people have already said, we are excited that we are beginning to kind of get back in the community. We are doing some of the wellness visits. Most of the towns have reached out to us with lists of people that they might be concerned about. So we're going to try to go to their homes to see them. So that program did launch this past week, and I'm glad about that. We did, as Kristen just said, we set up a little tent. So since most senior centers are not going to probably reopen for some time, we're trying to be outside and about, because there are some patrons out there that want their blood pressure and blood sugars checked. And they really utilize the time to kind of sit with their nurse for a minute or two and ask a lot of medical questions with regards to their medication. So that's going to happen. We are working with the police department and the Farmington Valley Health District to figure out a mass vaccination clinic for the fall. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be exciting and kind of a good test run in terms of mass drive-through clinic and what we need to know, so that in the future, if we actually get vaccines for things like COVID, we'll be able to be prepared for that process. Just so people know, I know Jennifer wasn't on the call, but like what Simsbury is doing with the Farmington Valley Health District, trying to figure out testing in town, they are partnering with Granby and Priority Urgent Care next Monday. They're going to have, and they pushed it out to try to advertise it, so I'll advertise it for them. And actually, I'm going to go through it just to see what it's like. But next Monday, June 8th, from 10 to 3 in the parking lot of the Granby Senior Center, behind all their municipal buildings, they are having a mass testing for COVID. So it'll be interesting to see what that's like. One of the challenges that we're all facing in this kind of healthcare side of the world is that the governor did sign an edict, a new executive order on Monday, that all nursing home and assisted living, senior living center staff will be mandatorily tested weekly. I have no idea how that's going to happen. Neither do most of those facilities. They've already called us to see if we would do the testing for them. It'll mean that my staff will have to be tested and tested weekly. And I don't think that the logistics are in place in order to do that yet. But I know that as of next week and the week after, it's going to be mandatory. So I'll be interested to see how some of these testing sites run. And we're going to have to try to jump on the bandwagon and figure out how can we either be a part of it or help out, because we're going to be required. And I don't know yet how that's going to happen. Other than that, I think we're all good. Everybody's healthy and safe. And thanks to a lot of you, we have a proper supply of PPE.
Okay. Yeah, Nancy, bring up some good points. I think the governor's doing a really thoughtful job on trying to keep us all safe and stay ahead of this. But obviously, as with anything well and good intentions, sometimes have gaps in it. So hopefully we'll get some guidance soon there. All right.
Well, just to share too, just one more quick thing. I did take part. Farmington did their annual business leaders breakfast meeting yesterday. I listened in because they had Dr. Agawanobi and Dr. Banash, who are head of, one's the CEO and vice president of public affairs. The other is epidemiology and infection control. And, most of what they said, we already know in terms of COVID and pandemic and what we all learned. One thing I did think was interesting, though, and I'll share it with all of you, they did talk about, especially the epidemiology and infection control physician. He did talk about that they have learned that social distancing and masking, even with cotton cloth masks, is a very effective way to help mitigate the transmission of disease. They found within the healthcare facility that as soon as staff went and sat somewhere to eat and took off a mask, that's how disease spread. So, for the public, I hope as much as we ease up some of our restrictions, I hope we don't ease that part up because it really will matter. And the other thing that they did warn about, because the question was asked, so I'll share it to all of you, because people are coming up with all kinds of masks to wear and sell. Those that have the small little release buttons, release valves, should be avoided because they in fact help release air. And that's not what the mask is supposed to do. So in case you see them or in case you get asked the question, you might want to say that those should be avoided and a good old cotton cloth mask would be much more effective.
Appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you.
No problem.
I just want to add one other thing, Sean, if I could.
Yep.
On the shot clinic program, we are partnering again with Farmington Valley Health and VNA for this fall on rolling out a mass flu shot campaign, which I think will be very, very well received. So there's a huge undertaking going on with Farmington Valley Health and VNA in planning this on a weekly basis. So we'll hopefully have, the next time we meet, some more information on this. This will be a town-wide initiative.
Yep.
And we're going to try to get everyone, and that's actually just strictly for the flu shot at this time, just to get people out there and get flu shots. So that'll be a huge component. And on the mask item, just to reiterate what we're talking about, as far as those are exhale valves that are in these N95 masks. And what is recommended that if you do wear an exhale valve on one of these, you wear a surgical mask on top of it. And that will stop the transmission of it. Because quite frankly, that's what we were given. We probably have 300 of those N95s with the exhale valves in them. So that's what we're working with, and that's what we have to do.
Yeah,
so
those are good for homeward working projects, not so good for keeping you safe, right? All right. And again, your point on the flu shot clinics is important. I know we've been talking about it at every meeting, but we can't talk about that enough. I liken it to you stay in your house when there's a flood and then somebody has to fly a helicopter in to rescue you because you didn't get your damn flu shot. Protect yourself and your family. I know everybody's an epidemiologist right now, just like they were a constitutional scholar not too long ago on Facebook. But we need to listen to the experts and we need to listen to our doctors. So encourage you to do so. All right, Sarah, business. How are we doing?
So Outdoor dining, as you know, is underway. I will thank the working group that we have, which is myself, Kevin Kowalski, Mike Liddon, Henry Miga, and both Jennifer Kurtanis and Jason Brown from the Farmington Valley Health District. We've gotten to just under a 24-hour turnaround for a lot of these stations, including 570, Table 570 and Popover, which are the two newest, and it was under 24 hours. We did have some protocol issues, and I want to thank the public because they were actual protocol issues with table spacing and cross-contamination and things. And the health district and the town are fully committed to making sure that our public is safe when they're doing the outdoor dining. So those have been all resolved, and so everything looks good there. The majority of our salons are now up and running. That includes both hair and tanning salons only right now, not nail or massage or anything like that. But the majority of our hair and tanning salons are up and running. The ones that are still closed are expected to open next week, and those include a lot of the kids' stuff. The issue there was waiting on proper PPE like barbicide and some of the other things that are now new requirements by the state. I want to thank Tom Roy and Capriola. Thanks to the partnership with the town of Simsbury, we were able to help 21 businesses providing sanitizer, bulk hand sanitizer, included two of our major churches there, and the town helped respond with Main Street, and so we're very thankful. I think that was fantastic. As we mentioned, thank you to Kevin Kowalski and to the fire district for the pickup of all the PPE for the businesses. Main Street will be doing, I'll be down at 10 a.m. again for what will be our fourth distribution of thermometers and masks. So again, thanks to them. As Karen mentioned, we are working with the ambulance, and I think it's so fantastic that they're going to be outside Fitzgerald's as well. It's the first time that that will be done as far as, giveaways to the town residents. And she talked about doing like packages of 10, like they're doing at some of the bigger sites. So that will be Monday and outside Fitzgerald. And thank you so much to the Ambulance Association. You guys are amazing. That's mostly it for me. Just a thank you for those that saw Antonio's did have a small fire last week. And so thank you very much to the fire district, the fire department for helping to get everything cleaned up. And he was reopened within 24 hours after, an inspection by the fire and also by the health district. So, our outdoor dining guys, our restaurants don't need anything more to happen. So I'm glad that it was contained and it was small and he was reopened within 24 hours. And then finally, just a reminder to everyone that we have the most extensive Simsbury business list on shopsimsbury.com and on Facebook. We have re-updated the restaurant list again. We had one restaurant closed temporarily because of staffing issues, but we've even been able to delineate. You'll see outdoor dining versus outdoor seating. Outdoor seating means that there are tables outside, but there is no table service, where outdoor dining means there is table service. So we have that much detail for over 37 restaurants, and then we have 140 something businesses. So check it out, shopsimsbury.com. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate all your work there. And obviously that's a huge effort coordinating with all the businesses, many of which are residents in this community or in neighboring communities. So we're helping each other out by helping these businesses. So I appreciate that.
Hey, Sean, if I could just interject a quick minute in my oversight on not mentioning the Antonio fire. This was a classic example of how sprinkler systems saved the building. If you were to take a look at the fire that we had a couple of years ago now with Tan Juan, where the entire building was destroyed, and that business was obviously put out of service for over a year. In this particular case, because of the impact and effect of the sprinkler system, that really put the fire out. And then we were just there to help clean it up and get the smoke out of the building. But that's really was the real reason why that building and that business was able to get back within 24 hours. So just wanted to underscore that.
It's a great reminder, Chief. Thank you for that. Yep. A little bit of investment on the front end pays dividends down the long road and helps keep people safe and property. So
thanks, Jim.
For the rest of our team that's been so patient, Mike Long, any updates?
I'll have to Unmute.
Mike, you're on mute.
I'm back, guys. Sorry, my internet connection is stable. I don't know if you guys heard me. Mike, you're good?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Yes.
I just wanted to echo your comments, Mr. Chairman, about the behavior of the Simsbury PD with regards to the demonstrations that have been taking place. I think it's exemplary. It's an example for us and for all the towns and communities in Connecticut on how police officers should behave in the light of the activities that have been taking place regarding Minneapolis. They're not over. They won't be over, but for a while, I don't think. So the continued reaction of the Simsbury PD is very, very important. And I can congratulate the chief and the whole department on how they've conducted themselves. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Very thoughtful points. Anyone else? Mr. Wilcox, anything from you, sir? I don't want to leave you out there.
Nope, we are good, Sean. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Okay. I appreciate all of your time. Maria, we have another one in 2 weeks. Okay.
Sorry, I had to toggle through the video.
Okay.
I apologize. Correct, great. 2 weeks. So we had one scheduled for that Thursday morning anyway, sometime back, but we have agreed to move it from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Since we have been meeting at 8 a.m., just want to remind people we'll stick with that time. And we are planning to do our normal standing agenda items that we've been doing for the past couple of months, but we'll also loop back on the proposed ordinance to prohibit the intentional feeding of wildlife at that meeting.
Yep. So that's, remind me again, that's June 19th?
June 18th at 8 a.m.
Okay. Yep. And then we'll lengthen these to a month between at that point. So we'll do the June 18th, and then we'll move to July 23rd for those keeping track at home for this point. Again, don't want to make you come to meetings just to repeat things that you said the previous week. Obviously, if things evolve and we need to get together, we certainly will. I appreciate you all taking extra time over the last couple of months, not only to educate and keep each other informed, but most importantly, to keep the public informed. As I've said many times, this group is an outstanding leadership team, and we count on you all. And you've given the public a lot of comfort, myself included, in how professional you all are, and we all know that are close to it. But getting to see it weekly, seeing how you're all on top of your departments, you're on top of everything that's going on with the latest information, has certainly been outstanding to see, and I know it's been appreciated. So, thank you all for what you do every day, and it's we're very lucky to live in this community. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you all.